Grab a beverage and your planner and let's reset for a new month. Hey everyone, I hope you're having a great day. It's that time where we sit down each month and we talk about our goals, we recap and we reset, we talk about what works, what didn't, and just kind of spend a little time together with a digital download. But first, if you're new around here, hello, my name is Lydia Senn and I make videos on frugal and simple living. We're a debt-free family of 6, and I like to talk about how to save time and how to save money because I do believe that you can do both. So I'd love for you to subscribe and join our community. So I actually had to pull up my Google Calendar to kind of go through, wait, what all did we do in May? It was so much. And it feels like, wait, when I think back, wait, was that in April? No, that was May. But June is here. Anyway, so May started off with our field day with our homeschool group. It was so much fun. The kids had a great time. It rained, but whatever. We played in the rain. We had a good time. There was a really cute moment when it came time for the 3-leg race. Libby, my daughter, didn't have a partner. My 13-year-old saw that she didn't have a partner, left what he was doing, went over there and was her race partner and ended up just like picking her up and running with her. It was adorable. But that weekend, the first weekend of May, we also had our first out-of-state karate tournament. My oldest son has been doing karate for 5 seasons now. It is something that he thoroughly enjoys, and this was a pretty big tournament. And it was also nice because we were able to spend some 2-on-1 time with him. You know, we spend 1-on-1 time with our kids all the time, but it is rare that my husband and I both get to spend time with the same child, you know, one-on-one. And so my mother-in-law came and got my other 3 kids. We took our oldest to stay in a hotel. He got to go swimming. We got to take him out to dinner and just like hang out and have conversations uninterrupted by a younger sibling. Because even if you have just one sibling, it's still hard to get that time with both of your parents. And so this was really special. And then at the tournament, he medaled in 3 different events. He got first place in 1 event and third place in 2 events. And he was so proud of himself. We were so proud of him. Of course, we would have been proud of him regardless because it's all about showing up, doing your best, learning how to take direction. But he was really, really proud of himself. And one of his coaches was there, or masters as they call it. And he, you know, gave him some pointers and my son really responded. And that's what it's all about to us. It's not about winning. It's about taking the time, putting in the work, being diligent, overcoming obstacles, but then also learning how to take that constructive feedback and apply it to what you're doing because that can be really hard. We also had a ton of recitals and a birthday. We had a ballet recital, a gymnastics recital. Did you know that was a thing? And then my 3 boys had a piano recital, and they all felt like in short time with one another, but we made it work. We got everything done. We got everyone everywhere on time. We didn't miss rehearsals. We had to move things around the calendar, but by golly, I got my kids where they needed to be. And when people talk about like mayhem or Maycember and how stressful it can be, it is real. The only added bonus is that when Christmas is over, you got to go right into a dreary new year. But when May is over, you get summer. So I'm looking forward to some slower days. We also had my second son who's just turned 12. What? We had a little Star Wars birthday party for him, and I did a cost breakdown on that if you're interested. But it was a lot of fun. We just had friends at our church, like friends come to our church in the afternoon. We had a Nerf gun party. We had a Star Wars themed cake with a big Lego thing on top. And it was a lot of fun, like a genuinely fun party where you hang out with friends, you get to talk to the parents. One of my favorite moments was I had mom friends that I was introducing, and I was like, this is my friend Scarlett, and she designs closets. And my other friends were like, that sounds so exciting. And Scarlett was like, yeah, I'm really good at it. And I love it when women acknowledge when they're good at stuff. Yeah, you are, girl. But it was also fun to see my kids' friends from other circles meet and mingle and play and have fun, and I just love it. Turns out maybe I like hosting, you know. My goal for May was just to kind of get through it, not overschedule our time, and I completely failed at that because there was one day when we had like all of my daughter's therapies, a dress rehearsal, then I had to drop a kid off at another practice, and then I had to pick a kid up and take him, and it was just, and a day when we had a recital and a birthday party on the same day. I did this to myself. I'm learning to say no. I was telling someone, I feel like after my dad's stroke, there were a bunch of things that I'd let go of, and I've just not picked them back up. And I feel like this weird shift going into June that I can't quite explain. And she was like, I think that's you like realigning with your values. And I was like, you know what? You're probably right. So I had a couple books that I wanted to read and only one that I actually was able to finish because I was trying to read more physical books. And I was in the car, carting my kids around. So I should have done audiobooks. But it was horror movie by Paul Tremblay. Now, he wrote Cabin at the End of the World, which I really enjoyed. He nails suspense. If you like a book that makes you feel like a little unsettled, a little uneasy while you're reading it, he gets it every time. This book, though, it literally made me want to throw up. It held my attention. I was on the edge of my seat. I read it in like a day and a half. It had me up until the last chapter. And then I threw it across the room. And then I donated it to the library because it was a book I bought on Independent Bookstore Day. But it was so the whole premise of the movie is it's a cursed film. So a film that never got finished, never really saw the light of day. And it's these college kid indie film producers making a horror movie, a body horror, if you know what that is. And bad stuff happens on the set. Some of the people die, and he is at the end like the person who lives to tell the tale, but he is an unreliable narrator. And if you know anything about me, the trope I hate more than anything in the world, unreliable narrator. Hate it. So many books I want to read in June that are coming out. There's a new Taylor Jenkins Reid. There's a new V. Schwab. There's a new S.A. Crosby. So I've got to be selective, but I have pre-ordered the new Schwab book, and I ordered it without reading what it was about. I just trust her writing so much. Schwab, best known for books like The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue and Vicious, returns with a time-sweeping, character-juggling lesbian vampire mystery jumping between 1532 Spain and 1827 London and 2019 Boston. The novel follows three women, all woefully constricted by societal conventions. Each is given the power to change her fate and transforms that come with new appetites and huge risks. Oh, I didn't know it was about vampires when I pre-ordered it, but here we are. So that is what I will realistically be reading in June. And then if I'm like, oh, and hopefully I'll have time, reading the new Taylor Jenkins Reid book, Atmosphere, which is about female astronauts, which feels really apropos right now. And so if I feel ambitious and feel like I can get 2 books in, I will read 2. I can do it. I used to read 2 a week. What has happened to me? I don't know. Also signed up for a history class. It's my hobby. I miss going to school. I've only been taking a break for a couple months, but like I miss the paper writing. I miss it. So I'm audited. What else did I enjoy in June? So Jason and I have been watching, I think I talked about this in my May video, Poker Face on Peacock. We're about halfway through the season. They release 1 episode a week. We finished The Last of Us on HBO Max. What the heck was that? Where was the rest of the story? Why are we just wandering around Seattle? What's going on there? It did make me cry. There were a few episodes that made me literally cry. And then we finished The Pit. I'm trying to think of what else we watched. I do want to start Your Friends and Neighbors on Apple Plus. Also, I took my kids to see Lilo and Stitch on my son's birthday, and it was so cute. A little bit of warning, they did, spoiler alert, okay, they did change the ending a little bit. Not a fan of that for a couple reasons. Let's talk about our goals for June. So, my big goal is my daughter has her big neurology appointment. I've touched on this briefly, but our doctor thinks that she has epilepsy. And so, we're just kind of trying to get to the bottom of what's going on there. And we have to travel for that appointment. It's about 4 hours away because there's just not a pediatric neurologist in our area, particularly one that our insurance will cover. So I have made my travel plans for that. I'm taking my oldest son with me, and my husband will stay here, and then we're just going to take it as it comes. It has a birthday this month, and so I've got to plan her party. Stay tuned. My kids have camp, so we're working through that, and then we're trying to be as chill as possible. She's not going to have therapy every single day. We're doing ABA 3 days a week and speech and OT 1 day a week. And so summer should be a little bit calmer. What else went on? You know, are we going to do any trips in June? Who knows? Somebody asked me today, do you have any summer travel plans? And I was like, that's a sore subject. I've made it back to the beach already. And so one of my goals for June is beach time. And then also, I've taken on a couple little jobs to build back up our savings where it's taken a hit. We had to get new tires last week. So far this year, we've replaced our washing machine, had major plumbing work done, had a big leak we had to pay for, and needed a new water heater. And so it's just been like one thing after another. And so really that's kind of my focus this summer, is earn a little bit of extra cash to build that back up. So thank you for watching this video. But my goal this summer is to have a 90s summer, and I'll talk about that in a separate video, but just slow, simple, easy summer of my childhood. Okay, so let's do some journal prompts. That's how I love to end things. So the first one is, what about June makes you feel more like yourself, and what contributes to that feeling? And I realized this. So on Mother's Day every year, I like to go to the beach. We go to church, we do Sunday school, and then we leave and go to the beach because I don't, Mother's Day is hard for me, and I can't put my finger on why. I have such a good relationship with my mom. But to me, it feels like a day of reflection. Like I want to spend time with my kids and like reflect on myself as a mother and how things are going. um, and while we were at the beach, we were walking, off the sand and back. The beach we go to is pretty remote. We kind of hike a little bit to get there, and then we hang out on the beach, and then we hike back. And as we're leaving the beach to go onto the trail, I was listening to the water and I was feeling it on my feet. And this year has been so stressful. These past 2 years have been so stressful. And I've never considered myself a beach person, but I was thinking I feel the most at peace when I'm here with my kids and my husband, and I've gotten confident enough to take them by myself, but I feel my most me there. And I don't know if it's that, like, there are no expectations here. We're just being silly. There's no, like, I'm not having to talk to anybody. I'm not having to return emails. I'm not having to make dinner. I'm not, like, we're just here at the beach. And they get to be kids. I get to be the mom. It's simple. Maybe it's water, and the fact that water is so healing to our senses. I don't know, but something about just being there makes me feel calm and at peace and alive and me. And I feel like I've lost me a little bit. Like, where do I fit into things? That's something kind of since my dad's stroke and my daughter's diagnosis and my journey with school and all of this is what's for me. Where do I fit in all this? What is my role? Describe a summer memory that makes you feel safe, happy, and at peace, and what does it teach you now? So kind of going back to that beach theme. We came home from the beach this weekend and we were making burgers, and that's what I had planned. Like, I had put the meat to thaw and we had gotten all the sides, and I patted them all out, and then Jason put them on the grill. And there's something very nostalgic about like going to the beach and coming back a little sun-kissed and taking that shower and maybe a nap, and then grilling burgers or cooking dinner, and that those memories of like laying in the bed after being at the beach, or laying on the living room floor watching a movie after being at the beach, and hearing my parents just kind of bumping around in the kitchen, making dinner, talking, that like soft lull of conversation that existed in the background of your childhood. And so Jason and I are making burgers and we're listening to 90s country music, as millennials do, and we're laughing with each other. And I'm just thinking, like, this is the soundtrack of their childhood. And how you see that on social media, like, it's not just their childhood, it's my motherhood. And we're creating memories, but we're also creating their future, how they're going to respond to things, how they're going to react to things, how they're going to view things. And that can feel like a huge responsibility. But how my mom and I had this conversation recently about, like, she did the work to heal as a mother, so that I'm not having to even think about things. I'm not even having to consider things that she considered, because she did that work to break cycles. And my husband's the same way. Like, our kids aren't going to have to think about things that he's considering now, because he's not bringing his trauma and issues into their childhood, essentially. That got heavy. Why does it always get heavy? This is what it's like to have a real life conversation with me, when people in my comments are like, I feel like we'd be friends. I don't small talk. I don't small talk in real life. And so it would very quickly get into, what happened in your childhood that makes you have the habits you have around grocery purchasing? Like, I just get into things, and is a little intense. But I would love to know your answer to any of these questions. Leave me a comment below and tell me. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you soon.